Alright team, let's talk about something incredible. Inside every single one of us is a microscopic army, a highly trained security force working around the clock to keep us alive. This is your immune system. It's not just one thing, it's a complex network of cells, tissues, and organs, all coordinating with military precision. Think of it as the ultimate defense system, constantly on patrol, identifying and eliminating threats. These threats aren't just the common cold or the flu. They include bacteria, viruses, parasites, and even our own cells that have gone rogue like cancer cells. Without this system, a simple paper cut could become a life-threatening infection, and we'd be defenseless against everyday germs. The importance of this system cannot be overstated. It's the reason we recover from illnesses and in many cases why we don't get sick from the same bug twice. This security force has two main branches, the innate immune system and the adaptive immune system. The innate system is your first line of defense. It's fast, non-specific, and always ready to go. Think of it like the guards at the gate. The adaptive system, however, is the special forces. It's slower to respond the first time, but it's incredibly precise, powerful, and it remembers every enemy it has ever faced. This is where our story today really begins, with the elite soldiers of the adaptive immune system. The key players in this entire operation are your white blood cells, or leukocytes. They are the soldiers, the spies, the generals, and the cleanup crew of your immune response. You've probably heard of some of them, like neutrophils, which are often the first responders to an injury, or macrophages, the big eaters that gobble up debris and invaders. But today we're going to focus on a very special class of leukocyte, a type of lymphocyte that acts as one of the most critical commanders and soldiers in this entire biological war. They are essential for a targeted, powerful, and long-lasting defense against disease. Understanding these cells isn't just academic. It's fundamental to medicine, nursing, and every allied health profession. Whether you're administering a vaccine, managing an autoimmune disease, or treating an infection, you are interacting with the consequences of this system's actions. Your ability to grasp how these cells work will make you a better, more effective clinician. It's the difference between just following a protocol and truly understanding why you're doing what you're doing. So let's get ready to dive deep into the world of one of the most fascinating cells in the human body, the T cell. So, what exactly are T cells? Let's break it down. T cells, or T lymphocytes, are a type of white blood cell that are central to the adaptive immune response. The T stands for thymus, which is a small organ located behind your breastbone. This is where these cells go to mature and get their training, kind of like a military boot camp. Before they go to the thymus, they are just generic recruits born in the bone marrow. But in the thymus, they undergo a rigorous selection process. They learn how to distinguish between self, your own healthy body cells, and non-self, the invaders and damaged cells they need to eliminate. This training is absolutely critical to prevent the immune system from attacking your own body. T cells are the master coordinators and frontline soldiers of your adaptive immunity. They don't just blindly attack anything that looks suspicious. Instead, they need other cells, known as antigen-presenting cells, or APCs, to show them exactly what the enemy looks like. An APC, like a macrophage or a dendritic cell, will find an invader, break it down, and then display a small piece of it called an antigen on its surface. The APC then travels to a lymph node and presents this antigen to a T cell. This process ensures that the immune response is highly specific and targeted only at the genuine threat, preventing widespread, unnecessary damage to healthy tissues. Think of the T cell as a high-ranking general who needs verified intelligence before launching an attack. They won't just act on a rumor, they need an APC to bring them a piece of the enemy's uniform, so to speak. Once a T cell is activated by its specific antigen, it sets off a powerful and complex chain reaction. It begins to multiply rapidly, creating an army of clones all designed to fight that one specific pathogen. This clonal expansion is what gives the adaptive immune response its incredible power. It's not just one soldier fighting, it's a whole army raised for a single purpose. This is why T cells are so fundamental. They bridge the gap between initial detection and a full-scale, targeted immune assault. They orchestrate the actions of many other immune cells, calling in reinforcements and directing the attack with incredible precision. Without functional T cells, your body's ability to fight off many infections, especially viral ones, and to form long-term immunity, would be severely compromised. In essence, they are the brains and the brawn of the adaptive immune system, and understanding their different roles is key to understanding modern immunology. Now let's get into the specifics, starting with the field commanders of the immune system, the helper T cells. These are also known as CD4+ cells because they have a specific protein on their surface called CD4. This protein acts like a co-receptor, helping the T cell dock properly with the antigen-presenting cell. Think of helper T cells as the generals who don't necessarily do the hand-to-hand combat themselves. Instead, their main job is to coordinate the entire immune response. They are the ultimate managers, sending out signals and activating other immune cells to get the job done efficiently and effectively. When a helper T cell is activated by an APC, its primary role is to release chemical messengers called cytokines. Cytokines are like orders shouted across the battlefield. These signals can do many things. They can call in more phagocytes, like macrophages, to the site of infection to clean up the mess. They can also activate other lymphocytes, including the B cells that are responsible for producing antibodies, and the cytotoxic T cells, which we'll talk about next. The helper T cell is the central hub of communication, ensuring that all the different branches of the immune army are working together towards the same goal. The importance of these cells is starkly illustrated by what happens when they are gone. The human immunodeficiency virus, or HIV, specifically targets and destroys CD4+ helper T cells. As the number of these cells declines, the body's ability to coordinate an immune response collapses. The generals are taken out, and the army falls into disarray. This is why individuals with advanced HIV or AIDS become susceptible to opportunistic infections, common germs that a healthy immune system would easily handle. It's a powerful and tragic demonstration of just how central the helper T cell is to our overall health. So, when you think of helper T cells, don't think of them as passive. Think of them as the most important decision makers in the heat of an immunological battle. They assess the threat presented to them, and then they formulate and communicate the battle plan. They decide which type of response is needed, and release the specific cytokines to make it happen. They are the linchpin that holds the entire adaptive immune response together, activating both the antibody-producing B cells and the cell-killing cytotoxic T cells. Without them, the response would be weak, uncoordinated, and ultimately, ineffective. Now, it gets even more interesting. Not all helper T cells are the same. Once activated, they can differentiate into specialized subtypes, each with a distinct role. The two most well-known subtypes are T helper 1, or Th1, and T helper 2, or Th2 cells. Think of these as two different types of specialist commanders, each trained for a different kind of warfare. The type of invader the body is facing often determines which type of helper T cell will take the lead. This specialization allows the immune system to tailor its response for maximum effectiveness against a specific type of threat. The Th1 response is all about what we call cell-mediated immunity. This is the heavy artillery. Th1 cells are the commanders you call in when the enemy is hiding inside your own cells, where antibodies can't reach them. This is common with viruses and certain types of intracellular bacteria. The Th1 cell releases a specific set of cytokines, most notably interferon gamma. This powerful signal acts like a battle cry, supercharging other cells. It activates macrophages, turning them into more efficient killing machines, and it is crucial for activating the cytotoxic T cells that hunt down and destroy infected body cells. The Th1 response is a direct, aggressive assault. In contrast, the Th2 response is geared towards humoral immunity, which is all about fighting invaders that are outside of our cells, floating around in body fluids like blood and mucus. This includes most bacteria, toxins, and parasites like worms. Th2 cells release a different set of cytokines, such as interleukin-4 and interleukin-5. These signals are less about direct combat and more about supporting another branch of the immune army, the B cells. These cytokines stimulate B cells to mature and start pumping out massive quantities of antibodies. Antibodies then tag the invaders for destruction or neutralize them directly. The Th2 response also recruits other specialized cells like eosinophils, which are particularly good at fighting parasitic worms. The balance between the Th1 and Th2 response is absolutely critical for good health. Ideally, your body mounts the appropriate response for the specific threat. However, if this balance is thrown off, it can lead to problems. For example, an overactive Th2 response is heavily implicated in allergic reactions and asthma, where the immune system is mounting a massive antibody-based attack against a harmless substance like pollen. On the other hand, some autoimmune diseases are linked to an overzealous Th1 response attacking the body's own tissues. If helper T cells are the generals, then cytotoxic T cells are the elite assassins. These cells, also known as CD8+ cells, get their name from the CD8 protein on their surface, which helps them bind to their targets. Their mission, well, it's simple and brutal: find and destroy any of your body's own cells that have been compromised. This includes cells infected with viruses, which turn them into tiny virus-making factories, and cells that have become cancerous. The cytotoxic T cell is your body's ultimate defense against internal threats, eliminating compromised cells before they can cause more harm. So how do they do it? The mechanism is incredibly precise. A cytotoxic T cell, often abbreviated as CTL, roams the body, checking the surface of every cell it encounters. All of our healthy cells constantly display little pieces of their internal proteins on their surface using a molecule called MHC class I. It's like a window into the cell's health. If a cell is healthy, it displays normal self-proteins. But if it's infected with a virus or has become cancerous, it will start displaying abnormal, non-self proteins. When a CTL with the right receptor finds a cell displaying these enemy signals, it knows it has found its target. Once the CTL locks onto its target, it initiates a lethal attack. It doesn't use bombs or bullets, but something far more elegant. It releases two main types of proteins. The first is called perforin. As the name suggests, perforin molecules punch holes or pores into the membrane of the target cell. This alone can cause the cell to leak and die, but it's the second weapon that delivers the real killing blow. Through the holes created by perforin, the CTL injects a payload of enzymes called granzymes. These granzymes enter the target cell and trigger a process called apoptosis. Apoptosis is essentially programmed cell death or cellular suicide. It's a clean, controlled demolition of the cell from the inside out. The cell's DNA is chopped up, and the cell itself breaks down into small, neat packages that can be cleaned up by macrophages without causing a lot of inflammation or collateral damage. This is a much safer way to eliminate a threat than simply blowing the cell up, which could release viruses or harmful substances into the surrounding tissue. The cytotoxic T cell is a swift, efficient, and clean killer, a crucial player in keeping your internal environment safe and stable. Now, an immune response that is all gas and no brakes would be a disaster. An unchecked army, no matter how skilled, can cause as much damage as the enemy. That's where another crucial type of T cell comes in, the suppressor T cell, more formally known as the regulatory T cell, or TREG. These cells are the peacekeepers, the diplomats, and the brakes of the immune system. Their main job is to calm things down and shut off the immune response once the threat has been successfully eliminated. This prevents excessive inflammation and stops the immune system from accidentally harming healthy tissues. Regulatory T cells are essential for maintaining what we call immune tolerance. This is the body's ability to tolerate its own cells and tissues without launching an attack. TREGs are constantly patrolling, ensuring that other immune cells, particularly the self-reactive ones that might have slipped through the training process in the thymus, are kept in check. They essentially tell the more aggressive T cells to stand down. They are a critical safeguard against autoimmunity, where the immune system mistakenly attacks the body it's supposed to protect, leading to diseases like rheumatoid arthritis, lupus, or multiple sclerosis. How do they accomplish this? The mechanisms are complex and still being studied, but we know they work in several ways. One key method is by producing their own set of inhibitory cytokines, like interleukin-10 and TGF-beta. Unlike the activating cytokines released by helper T cells, these signals have a dampening effect. They tell other T cells to stop proliferating and to stop their attack. In some cases, TREGs can even directly kill overactive immune cells to shut down a response or act like a sponge, soaking up the essential growth factors that other T cells need to survive. The importance of these suppressor cells cannot be overstated. Without them, even a normal immune response to a common cold could spiral out of control, causing massive systemic inflammation. The balance between the activating cells like helper T cells and the calming cells like TREGs is what allows for a powerful, yet controlled immune response. It's a perfect example of the elegant system of checks and balances that exists within our bodies. They ensure that our immune army fights the enemy hard but knows exactly when to declare victory and return to base. One of the most remarkable features of the adaptive immune system is its ability to remember. This is why you usually only get diseases like chickenpox once. After the initial battle is won, most of the activated T cells that were created to fight the infection will die off. However, a small population of them survive and become memory T cells. These are the battle-hardened veterans of your immune army. They can live for years, sometimes even for a lifetime, quietly circulating through your body, carrying the memory of the enemy they once fought. These memory T cells provide us with long-term immunity. If the same pathogen ever tries to invade your body again, the response will be completely different from the first time. During the initial or primary infection, it took days or even weeks to find the right T cell and build up an army. But the second time around, the large population of memory T cells is already in place. They recognize the pathogen immediately and can mount a response that is much faster, stronger, and more effective than the first one. In many cases, the response is so swift that the pathogen is eliminated before you even feel any symptoms. There are different types of memory T cells, each with a specific role. Some, called central memory cells, tend to reside in secondary lymphoid organs like the lymph nodes, ready to generate a large new army of effector cells if needed. Others, called effector memory cells, patrol the peripheral tissues like the skin and lungs, acting as sentinels on the front lines, ready for immediate action right at the site of reinfection. This combination ensures that we have both a reserve force ready to be deployed and guards already on patrol at potential entry points. This principle of immunological memory is the entire basis for how vaccines work. A vaccine introduces a safe, harmless version of a pathogen, or just a small piece of it, to your immune system. It's not enough to make you sick, but it's enough to trigger a primary immune response and, crucially, to generate a pool of memory T and B cells. Your body then has the veterans it needs to fight off the real pathogen if you ever encounter it. Memory T cells are the living library of every major battle your immune system has ever won, ensuring you are prepared for the future. So, we've talked about all these different T cells and their incredible powers, but a key question remains: how do they know exactly what to attack? How can a cytotoxic T cell kill a virus-infected lung cell but completely ignore the healthy one right next to it? The answer lies in a concept called specificity, and it's based on a beautiful biological system that works like a lock and a key. Every single T cell has a unique receptor on its surface called the T cell receptor, or TCR, and each TCR is designed to recognize and bind to only one specific antigen. Think about it like this: your body has millions, perhaps billions of different T cells circulating at any given time. Each one has a differently shaped TCR on its surface like a unique key. The antigen, the piece of the pathogen presented by an APC, is like a specific lock. A T cell will only become activated if its key, the TCR, perfectly fits the lock, the antigen being presented to it. This means that out of all the millions of T cells floating around, only the few that have the exact right key for that particular invader will be selected to respond. This incredible diversity of T cell receptors is generated through a process of genetic recombination that happens while the T cells are developing in the thymus. The genes that code for the TCR are shuffled and rearranged in a nearly infinite number of ways, creating a vast repertoire of T cells capable of recognizing almost any pathogen you could ever encounter. It's a lottery system that generates millions of different keys, ensuring that no matter what new lock an invader presents, your body will likely have a key that fits. This lock and key specificity is what makes the adaptive immune response so precise and powerful. It ensures that the immune system doesn't waste its resources attacking the wrong target, or even worse, attacking your own healthy cells. The response is focused like a laser beam only on the cells that are presenting the specific antigen from the invader. This is why T cells can be so effective at clearing infections while causing minimal collateral damage. It is the very foundation of their power and a cornerstone of modern immunology. So there you have it, a deep dive into the world of T cells, the undisputed champions of your immune system. We've seen how they start as recruits in the bone marrow and graduate from boot camp in the thymus. We've met the master coordinators, the CD4+ helper T cells, and their specialized Th1 and Th2 squads that tailor the attack. We've unleashed the assassins, the CD8+ cytotoxic T cells, that carry out clean and precise eliminations of compromised cells. We understand the importance of the peacekeepers, the regulatory T cells, that prevent the system from going too far. And finally, we've appreciated the veterans, the memory T cells, that provide us with lasting immunity, the very principle that makes vaccination one of the greatest achievements in medical history. All of this is governed by the beautiful specificity of the T cell receptor, the lock and key system that ensures the right cells are targeted every single time. As future doctors, nurses, and healthcare professionals, this knowledge is not just trivia, it's your toolkit. It's the why behind the treatments you will one day provide. From understanding autoimmune diseases and allergies to appreciating how new cancer immunotherapies work by unleashing the power of a patient's own T cells, this information is central to modern medicine. It gives you a framework for understanding health and disease on a fundamental level. Keep this knowledge sharp, stay curious, and never stop asking questions. The immune system is one of the most complex and elegant systems in the human body, and we are still uncovering its secrets every single day. Mastering these concepts will make you a more confident and competent healthcare provider. I hope this breakdown has helped clarify the incredible roles of these amazing cells. If you found this helpful and want to continue building your medical knowledge with clear, straightforward explanations, make sure you hit that subscribe button for Joen Academy. We're always working to bring you the content you need to succeed. Stay sharp, and I'll see you in the next one.